Big news! Wayfair's tax refund sale is on now. Right now through March 2nd, you can score up to 70% off furniture, decor, appliances, rugs, and more. With fast and easy shipping straight to your door. Plus, amazing flash deals. Shop Wayfair's tax refund sale now to make the most of your refund with huge savings through March 2nd at wayfair.com.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Beyond cis male, cis female, non-binary, trans male, there are more.
They're swimming in like the gender soup
of different experiences.
Gender is like a marker of time. Thinking critically about what inclusion means.
So much of womanhood is tied to whiteness, is tied to thinness.
How do I identify myself? Faggot.
Non-binary.
As femme as humanly possible.
I'm a cisgendered gay man.
A binary trans woman.
Theatrical and flamboyant. Dykes who identify as twinks.
A gender conscientious objector.
I just kind of forget that I have a body.
Drag helped me unlock the power of my femininity within a masculine persona.
Transitioning when you're older.
It opens up an entire world of possibilities.
I bloomed. I blossomed.
Comfortable in my physical body for the first time in my whole life.
Existing
in a more nuanced way.
In thought, in imagination, in fantasy.
My gender in my head feels like the cosmos. Just fully unknowable, even to myself.
I wasn't trying to be a gender. I wasn't trying to be a race. I was trying to be a point of energy in the universe.
That's amazing.
I love that. Are you an astro believer, Babette?
I am a huge astro believer. I feel like there's just some things that are like too eerie to like not be true. Aries are babies. It's like always true. Pisces think they're old souls, but are also babies. It's just like too consistent for it to not be true.
Interesting. I love it because like tarot cards, it gives us a lot of like archetypes. And that's just going to make you think no matter what, like giving you kind of endless combinations. Are you someone who gets like your birth chart read or like past lives? Are there so many different readings? Have you ever done that?
I've never gotten a reading actually. And I feel like where I stop completely understanding astrology is like houses. Like I'm just like me personally, like where I stop like being able to fully comprehend things is like in the 18th house you were and I'm just like, okay, word. What about you? You got a reading with our guest today.
I did. I got a reading with Alice and it was really good. I've gotten a lot of readings actually over the years. I feel like a lot of people I've gotten my chart read by could be whatever role like a philosopher has had throughout time. I feel like these people really can occupy that. I specifically really like Alice Sparkly Cat's Instagram right now. It's so good. There's so much violence and just hyper militarized like destruction going on right now. And I feel like they are constantly posting really centering, really heartfelt, quick things that in my doom scroll stops me. It's like a really beautiful version of that annoying thing on TikTok where they're like, you've been scrolling a long time, don't you?
Right. No, it brings you out. It's like a politically aware astrology,
exactly.
Which I love because I'm sorry, there is a phenomenon that I think is so funny, which is the bitches that like think that like they're like intuitive and are like chart readers, but are actually the least socially aware and least intuitive person you've met in your entire life. Do you know what I mean?
Wait, I actually don't. Where they're just kind of like woo-woo. And it seems like they're kind of like out.
They're kind of woo-woo, but they're like, I'm so in touch with things, but like can't read social cues, which is like very real. But it's like, oh, actually, do you know what's going on right now? But they're like, no, I'm just so in touch with the stars. And it's like, do you know what's going on around you? Like, do you know?
Yes.
Like, man, this is a wedding.
Okay, but I feel like the other side of the coin is I've never met more disastrous, fucked up people in my life than therapists and social workers.
Exactly.
Like,
no, it's that
that
exact vibe, like empaths. And it's like, you don't know. It's kind of thing with like nurses. Like all the people from like college and went to nursing school or high school. You are the worst person on the planet. And yet you're entrusted with like caring for other people.
No, but I don't even mean like they're bad. I just mean the amount of care that they're trying to bring to the world when nobody else is helping. They're just so overburdened. I was talking to a girl who's like in a
I'm talking about mean nurses.
That's
okay.
So
you're talking about like a different
I'm
thing,
just talking about
like
messy.
Like, there's so much.
Yeah. I'm just talking about like blackout screaming at like someone at like a burger place, and you're like, hey, let's get some air. And then you go to talk to them and they're like, no, I'm like a caseworker like for Los Angeles County. And you're like, okay. And I'm like, get it. Exactly. So I'm like, yeah, let off some steam. Work hard, play hard kind of vibe.
Yeah. Yes. To be clear, Alice is like not one of those.
Yeah.
I just want to run home that Alice is one of those people that just seems like so politically aware and engaged. I don't know, this practice that like really prioritizes and like, as they describe it, like affirms life in like all its forms, which I really appreciate. And they're just like so affirming. Like I feel like in this interview I talked about kind of being a hater because, and I think that just came through in kind of the anecdote I said, which is like, you know, as a Pisces, I feel like I've constantly been wronged and that there's like, you know, I have so many haters. And sometimes I feel like I'm like, oh, that's so bad. Like I have to stop being such a hater. And Alice is like, no, like that's protected.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
There's a point to that. And I love how they just like affirm all ways of being in a way that makes astrology feel like a little more flexible than maybe even us queers use it. Yeah. I mean, I think we like to think like, you know, fuck a Gemini, fuck a Pisces vibe, but they are really just like so affirming. And like, I think that comes from this kind of like queer post-colonial lens that they kind of bring to their practice, which is so amazing.
Exactly.
I just turned 32, and then this, like last year I was 31. So then I feel like that's a year where you're starting to learn more about your family story. So I was thinking about gender a little bit more through that context, because I think that gender changed a lot in China in the last couple decades. So hearing like old stories about gender, being like, oh dang, like people are really living in a different reality. And then thinking about how to talk about it with the older generation too, because I saw more family members last year.
Did you initiate those conversations with them? How did that go?
Yeah. What happened was I came out to my aunt, because I came out to my parents before. I don't know the technical terms for things, so I'm like, same gender lover.
Right.
Yeah. So normally, like Chinese family records are patriarchal. They only record the men of the family, and then if you're a woman, then you're recording your husband's family. But I'm recorded in both of my family records because my grandpa recorded, just everyone.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I was thinking about gender with that too. And I think like in his lifetime, his ideas of gender changed very drastically.
Was that with coming out to your aunt as queer, or more of like a gender thing, like coming out as non-binary?
I wouldn't know how to come out as non-binary in Chinese. So just queer. Yeah, just queer. I don't think there's a vocabulary for it. I almost feel like because gender is different in a different context, it's like not so necessary for me. Yeah, maybe it's needed for other people, and that's fine. But for me, I don't feel like there's a misunderstanding sometimes.
Whoa, cool.
Could you tell us a little bit, like, maybe on your journey of how you got to kind of that place of self-acceptance where you're also able to kind of talk to your family about your queer identity? Was your family like chill with your queerness, like growing up? Like, I'm guessing, I don't know, with most people, I'm guessing no, but like, what can you tell us a little bit about that journey and what that was like for you?
My parents are really Christian, is the thing. Like, they're like Jesus freaks.
Whoa.
Like, my mom
interesting.
loves Carl Jung and then Jesus. Yeah.
Interesting.
But she was always trying to make me come out, and she's like, I think that you think you're a lesbian.
Wow.
And then I'm like, I would be like, I don't want to talk about this with you. Like really rebellious when I was younger. But Yeah, I don't know. My mom was raised as a boy until her brother was born, which was very common back then too.
Whoa.
Yeah, but so she didn't know she was a woman or a girl until she was already developed.
Wait,
could you elaborate on that a little bit? Like what, when you say that's common?
You gotta explain that a little bit more.
No, this is what I mean about gender changing a lot. Cause like, you know, like her grandma still had bound feet. And then for her generation, it's like, what? I mean, it just happened a lot. It's like, if you don't have a son, then you raise a daughter to be a boy.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah. So it's, it happens to a lot of people. And then,
wow.
Yeah, both my grandmas were security guards, so very butch people.
Oh my God, obsessed.
So, I mean, I don't think my parents are uncomfortable with queer aesthetics for queer people. I don't think they even see it. Like, we watched a show with like a trans person in it. I remember I asked my dad, like, what gender do you think this person is? And then he was like, maybe a woman or a man. Like, who cares? Watch the show.
He said, shut up. Like, I'm trying to watch this show. I'm trying to watch this
It's like,
show.
why are you trying to out this person? He's the ally.
That's so funny.
It's funny, yeah. So, yeah, I came out to my dad first, and then it's like, oh, I have a partner. And he was like, oh, that's so great. I'm so happy. Yeah, is he husband material? And it's like, my partner's the same gender as me, is what I said. And then he's like, oh, I feel so sleepy suddenly. Can we talk another time? I have to take a nap.
Wow.
Avoidant king.
Yeah.
The ultimate dad excuse.
No, exactly. Like, oh, I'm a little tired.
But you know, like, if someone's trying to tell you something you don't want to hear, like, you do get sleepy physically.
So it's a dissociative reaction, totally.
Yeah. What about y'all? How did y'all come out?
I have super religious parents, but actually my brother is also gay, so 100% of my mom's children are gay. So I think that made it a little bit easier, because when my brother came out, I was able to be like, me too.
Now you co-opting your brother's moment.
It's really how it's coming out.
So funny. My mom like made me come out to her. She's like, I know that you don't talk about boys. And her whole thing was like, you're getting tattoos and you're talking about feminism. Wow. I'm like, okay, she kind of ate me up actually. So she was like, I know, like you're gay, like, and made me come out. So that was pretty bad. And I actually haven't come out to like my parents as like non-binary. I like what you said about some kind of familial understanding where like, I think telling my parents explicitly would be like so disruptive, but in a way they've seen me like grow up. They've seen me be like a tomboy. They've seen me be like all of these things. So I feel like I don't really need to say anything. And it's just kind of like, oh, word, Babette's going to do what they're going to do. Like, so I haven't really explicitly done that. I'm just going to assume that you've like seen me my whole life, which you have. So... And my mom's pretty psychic, so she'll probably clock the teen.
What would you say, Alice, is the most psychic astrological sign?
The most psychic I don't know. They're all psychic in different ways, I feel like. Maybe the water signs, water's a medium. Things dissolve in it. Yeah. I was talking about this with friends. Like, my partner's a Libra, and then they were saying, like, Pisces is psychic, Libra's Bluetooth, which is a little bit more mechanic.
So
I like that analogy.
Yeah. So according to them, it's Pisces.
Yeah, whoa, interesting.
My mom's a Pisces, so...
Oh, there it is.
My mom's a Pisces, too.
Oh, wow.
Wait. Did both our moms were like, I know you're gay, come on.
Right? Yes. No, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
No, she knows. She knows. Like, it's so freaky. Like, a friend I haven't talked to in like 15 years or something, like 10 years, like, will randomly text me one day. I haven't told her that like they've texted, but she'd be like, oh, I wonder how so-and-so's doing. Like, have you thought about them recently? And I'm just like, oh my fucking God. Like, wow. She's it's crazy. Yeah, I can't hide anything from her, which is kind of a bummer, so.
Right. It's the water permeating into it every
crevice.
Totally. Every crevice, yeah.
I'm a Scorpio moon, and I was reading Bell Hooks' book, All About Love, and my partner at the time borrowed it and found a piece of paper where the sole note I had written were the words privacy versus secrecy.
That is so fucking like Scorpio moon. That's so funny. It's like so many beautiful takeaways about how to like love yourself, love others, and it's like private. Yeah, funny. My roommate Min is a Scorpio moon, and it's just like boundaries queen. Boundaries queen. Like,
oh, I love that.
You know, my mom's a Scorpio moon. Yeah.
Oh my God. All these coincidences.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Could you tell us about your practice as an astrologer? I find that your work is like so like, at least your work on Instagram is so like beautiful and poetic. So like, I'd love to hear about some of your values as like a student and teacher of astrology and like how you've gotten to where you are in your practice.
Ooh. Thanks for asking that question. Thanks for the kind words, too.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing chart readings, so working with people since, I think, in 2015, so 9 years now. And then, it's changed a lot during that time, because I think when I was starting out, I was reading a lot at different events, different parties, and then it's a different container, because I think when you show up at a party, you're like, hey, like, I'm kind of, like, in community, I feel like I'm in this container where, like, there's people who, like, maybe are friends of friends here. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, people are having fun and also processing things emotionally at parties too. So you're kind of part of that. There's like a detachment also because you're not really seeing the same person over and over again. And then since then, I have built more of a practice where I see returning people more. Mm-hmm. And then, so part of that is just learning more about emotions, learning more about like emotions, especially in different phases of life, not just like age-wise, but with events that are happening in people's lives. And then, I mean, always learning more too. And then, so yeah, I take it more seriously now. You know, I'm in my 30s. When I started my early 20s, sometimes with like more chill astrological work where it's more like peer support, maybe in a party, it's very needed. But yeah, I do want to take it more seriously now. Another thing that's changed is that before I was mostly seeing people who lived around me neighborhood wise, but I now see people from kind of all over. So that's also different because neighborhood wise, you're like, hey, we have some friends in common. We're sitting down together. And then it's a different type of conversation and the holding space for folks from every type of location.
Yeah.
It takes a little bit more like reading the world from me too. And then like making space for what I don't know. So I think like the main value I bring into the practice is affirming life. That's like in all types of things. So it's not like some emotions are good, some emotions are bad. It's like all emotions are helpful for some reason and then contain some kind of information. So all emotions, they're part of your real body, part of your real experience. Being with them can help us affirm life. So that's kind of the value.
That's really cool.
Oh, that's amazing. Because I feel like it gets away from some of the toxic stuff in astrology where it's like, oh, these signs are overly emotional and these signs are like emotionally detached. Like, I love what you're saying about just kind of validating all forms of emotions and like seeing what comes of them. I feel like that's so beautiful. So appreciate that.
Yeah. How often do you see repeat clients? Is it annually?
Yeah, I like once a year because personally, I get astrology readings every year. I don't do it that often. You know, it's kind of a birthday or like when I'm going through a transition moment kind of thing for me. So I like that. But yeah, I have seen people more frequently and then that's cool. Yeah, that's cool because then we can focus more on like short-term timing and then use those techniques as well.
Yeah, maybe if it's too short-term, you get more into like the therapy territory where you're like, oh, I'm
someone's coming every
week. Yeah, exactly. Do you need me to have like new licenses or something? Like, what the fuck?
No, that's the territory that I try to get away from. That's why I'm like, okay, every year as well, because I don't have any training building a long-term therapeutic relationship, which is something really different than creating emotional container for the moment. So yeah, I always try to communicate that with people and then be like, hey, I'm here, in a different capacity.
Yeah, I could see your affirming life really helping with therapy. Like those would work really well together, I'm sure. I'm curious, do you have any kind of like spiritual practice or like meditation that helps you build your capacity for being present or like sitting with people and providing that container?
Yeah, I journal. I really like to journal. So then, I try to do 3 pages every morning. I think journaling just helps slow down your thoughts. So then they're not running. That works for me. Yeah, I mean, cooking, I like to cook, and I feel like food affirms life, just all kinds of things. I mean, I think study affirms life. Yeah, just reading feels very exploratory for me. Yeah, my partner does Qigong. I'm not that good at physical type of things, but
yeah.
I'm curious, you talked about your journaling practice, but for the stuff that you present to the world, either in like your book or like writing on like Instagram, what does that kind of practice look like? Like, I'm just curious, like how you think about the astrological moment and transfer that into writing.
Yeah. I think for Instagram posts, I do just like copy lines out of my journal a lot.
I was gonna ask this from your journal.
Yeah.
Okay, that's amazing.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, it's just from my journal. It's just my thoughts. It's not like a objective, this is the astrology of the moment or anything. Yeah, it's just...
Right. No, it's your interpretation for sure. Yeah. That's amazing. But it's so resonant to so many people that I'm just like, oh my God. Maybe that's part of its resonance, that it's like kind of your personal like writing in a way, because it just hits like so, it always feels so relevant. So I was wondering about that.
How does gender manifest in different astrological systems?
This is a really good question. Yeah, because in a lot of astrology, like there's gendered vocabulary. So you can either think about it as like there's the diurnal planets, day planets, but then you also have the masculine signs. And then there's the night planets, nocturnal planets, and then there's the feminine signs. So those things are related, is the thing. And then so the sun is considered to be day, because it comes out during the day. Moon, night, and then you got Mars being night, and then Venus being night, and then Saturn being day, and Jupiter being day. And then Mercury is always neutral and androgynous. So it's both day and night, and then it's both masculine and feminine. And then Mercury in its morning time phase is also considered to be diurnal and then masculine. And its evening star phase, it's considered to be nocturnal as well. So it changes. Yeah, it changes a little bit. Then when you look at the genders of each planet, then I think you get a little bit more play, because different cultures have been involved in this creation of what we now consider quote unquote Western astrology. It's not really Western, its roots are not Western. So the moon, it's quote unquote feminine, but there's been male gods associated with it. Same with Venus. Mars has been considered feminine before, even though it's considered masculine now. There's a lot more play, I think, with the story making behind each symbol. And then I think that since astrology has been more popular among queer people, there's been an explosion of that kind of play and remixing of meanings happening in the last few decades or so, which is really fun. And then in Chinese astrology, your gender changes your luck cycle. So then you have one luck cycle if you're male, one luck cycle if you're female. If you change your gender, you use the other luck cycle. Yeah, I like to look at both because I actually feel like both resonate for different reasons. Yeah, so it's interesting to look at both too. And then just figure out your own way, the gender stuff in astrology.
Could you elaborate on how this idea that like Western astrology is actually kind of this mixing of things? Like, I guess I'm just wondering, like, if you have a sense of how Western astrology is associated with colonialism, but it also sounds like it's like a mix of like different cultures. Like, I wonder if you could just break that down for people who don't know like about those histories.
Western astrology, quote unquote Western astrology, is a hodgepodge of different things. Depending on who you talk to, astrologers, we all use different techniques. So you might run into people who use, let's say, like the lots a lot, the parts of fortune, a lot of spirit, a lot of arrows, and then that's a medieval technique. Medieval techniques are usually Islamic. How we think about the West is also always changing too. Like the 12 sign zodiac, the use of the ascendant, which comes from Egypt, and then what else? The use of the 7 planets. I might be wrong about this, but I think it comes from the Persian Empire. Today, we might not think of it as like so Western. Maybe we do. I don't know. But there's a lot of parts of Western astrology basically that come from places that are not considered Western. I think for Hellenistic astrologers, they were always like talking about going to Egypt, different parts of Africa to learn astrology. And then in the British time, in British Empire, they were talking about going to India to learn astrology. So, I mean, like, this is a type of storytelling that a lot of these white dudes were doing. Like, I went to this place and then I had some kind of spiritual epiphany. But then the techniques they were using is actually from their contemporaries to their colleagues. And then so it's like a little bit like exoticizing as well. So I feel like the line between like what's Western and what's not is very blurry, because sometimes it's like, oh, it's not like a Western appearing thing, but it's like a Western exotic projection of something.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. But maybe that's like true in gender too. Like how we think about gender is like what parts of it is like a Western projection of something, and then what parts of it is like my actual experience too.
Totally. Like, and how is that pulling from something else, you know?
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
I'm really interested in your writing about this. You have this book called Post-Colonial Astrology. Can you tell us more about astrology as a community building tool?
In different ways, yeah. So sometimes with queer groups, it's kind of like, okay, like we're talking about the signs, we're cracking jokes about them. I feel like that is community building or building friendship through that. And then you're trying to be like, okay, let me get to know you better. Here's information about your sign. Like, how do you experience that? But always very funny. And queer people are hilarious. And then there's also like astrology organizations, which are not like always queer too. That's a community. I do a group where we do monthly meetups. That's the source of joy in my life. So, I mean, that's very queer. And it's also astro nerds, so astrology nerds. So I feel like people do come together because it makes us talk about all these like parts of ourselves, and then in-depth experiences, and then also what we think about the world. Because astrology is about world exploration too. Community, I had to take a second for the question because my old job was doing community programming. And then...
Oh,
like,
in what way?
Yeah. Oh, just doing like arts programs for senior citizens and then kids and teens. Yeah.
Oh my God, cool.
Yeah, it was nice. It was nice. I mean, I did astrology a little bit with them, which, yeah, like they do come together a little bit when talking about this kind of thing. Because especially with the elders, they weren't really like talking about their in-depth experiences so much with each other. Yeah, it was kind of nice. But I feel like community is something that's very different in all those contexts. It's like community programming, queer community, where it's your friends, and then also building a community space with programming around it.
Yeah.
Or maybe in between those two. Yeah, it can be useful.
What do you think are the positives and negatives of using astrology to connect with each other? We all do. Like, what have you noticed?
It's just like any other language system. It makes you talk about different things with different people. And then it depends on how you use it. Like, oh, if you're like just saying, oh, you're this sign, so you're this type of person, that can be a little bit off-putting for people. It's not going to create like such a great community container if you're just like telling people who you are. But I actually don't feel like that's been my experience with community and astrology. I don't know. Maybe it is for, people who are different than me. Everyone has different experiences. But I haven't really seen that happen around me, is the thing.
Yeah, totally. Okay, I don't know if you know, there's this New York Times list of 20 questions you're supposed to ask someone to fall in love. And some people are like crazy about this list, like, oh my gosh, you have to do this with all your friends. But it sort of reminds me of how people use astrology or tarot or other like kind of get to know you question games. It's just kind of nice to have some of these things that are like poetic jumping off points to like ask your questions and learn more specific things about the people you care about.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I feel like astrology is like poetic, but I also think that queer people make it really funny. So then we're joking about the signs, kind of like how we were joking about Pisces a little bit. And it's not mean or anything. It's just
right.
Totally. It's nice to have like percentage of silliness with this thing that feels like so ancient.
Totally. So could you tell us about what queer intimacy means to you? And like, how do you think of it as kind of like a method or like a way to access utopia?
I think that most of the people I serve are queer. And then so I think about queer people a lot because of that. And then, also because I'm queer. So the affirmation of life thing, I've been thinking a lot about, just because I feel like we see so much just queer erasure and then also queer death too. So I feel like even building a small space where people can play can be an affirmation of life in the future. I'm really serious about this because all queer people are different. We don't come into queerness from the same perspective, from the same cultures or anything. We're all different, and then we don't all agree. The only way to start to create some kind of reality together is by playing with each other. Because play is like, hey, I'm doing this, and then you do something back. I'm inviting you to do something back. Or I'm doing this, I'm telling you that I want to do this, and then you play over here, we're playing side by side. So, like, there's a lot of ethics in play that's about reality creation and reality sharing together. I feel like sometimes with queer spaces I go in, I'm like, okay, there's a sense of, like, I want this utopia because the world hates me so much. But I want to create a sense of queer reality. And then I think that happens through play. And it's not always play for pleasure. It's just the ethics of play. We're exchanging. We're not always agreeing, but we're having a relationship. That's part of the intimacy. So it's not always like, oh, we're intimate, so we owe each other anything. Or like there's all these assumptions. It's just we have some kind of relationship and we sense each other. And then we can acknowledge each other.
I literally was going to say it's like the ethics of play. And then you said that. So like, because I know what you mean. I think it's how do you respect and also connect across like difference? I think partially it's also what you're describing, where it's like what you described about astrology, or maybe what feels useful about astrology. It is a way to map, this is what I'm bringing to the table. This is what you're bringing to the table. And how can we like interact while like respecting each other?
Yeah.
So yeah, I love how you described that. I think that makes a lot of sense to me. And I totally see how maybe like astrology can kind of fit into that kind of intimacy and world building. So that's awesome. That's so sick.
If you had to break down or define a little bit more the ethics of play, what does that mean to you?
For me, I think that there's two emotions that can tell us when we're maybe reluctant to play. And then that's shame and then envy. So then,
wow.
Yeah, shame is when we're like, okay, like I'm feeling playful. I don't trust that other people around me are. So I'm afraid to get too playful. And then I'm afraid that people would judge me for being too messy, too playful. And then envy can be like, like I'm really scared that I'm not as playful. Just watching for those two emotions. And they're not bad emotions. They just tell you about where you're more reluctant to play. And then watching them and then trying to get those emotions to come out and play. That's something I've been really curious about lately. This is something that I always try to do is like, there's kind of like two modes of listening that I bring into my client practice. One is playing along. It's like, okay, you're telling me the story about your life. What happened to you? What happened next? Anything could happen. And then it's like, oh, okay, like I'm just making something up. Like you saw this bird. Oh my God, this bird was actually your mom speaking to you. Like everything is believed because that's part of what someone's experience is. So that's one mode of listening. Another mode of listening, which is also important, is questioning also. So it's like, okay, you believe this about yourself. What does it mean that you believe this about yourself? So I think both modes of listening are important just for people to feel like they're actually being listened to. And then both are forms of play for me because you're just like, you're reflecting another person back. I think both can be really playful too. So it's not like always like, oh, I'm questioning your narrative. Like it's like, hey, like, yeah, wow, really? You think that people are friends with you because you do this and that for them? Is that really true?
Right. A question that I have, what you're describing, I feel like is such an openness to people's experiences and like what they can mean, the significance that they can hold for themselves. And it's making me realize how deeply judgmental and skeptical I am as a person. Because you're so open. And I guess I'm like, how do you withhold? Because I do think like to be open to play, you do have to kind of almost withhold some judgment. But then I'm also thinking about how, like, for me, judgment feels so deeply, like, protective and based in, like, bad experiences. I'm asking, like, you personally as a practitioner, like, are you trying to not be judgmental of people's experiences? What does that look like? Like, how do you kind of maintain that openness, I guess?
No, judgment's super important. Like, no, I'm serious. It's like, okay, if you're friends with someone and then anything they say is automatically believed, that person's not going to trust you too, because we're not creating a queer fantasy of being, we're creating queer reality.
Of all your writing, which are you closest to, or like which one are you most proud of?
I made a zine this last year about dragons that I'm really proud of.
Sick.
It's called Dragons, Fact and Fantasy.
Ooh.
Yeah, but because I found out like dragons are rivers, and then so I just became really obsessed with that piece of information, and then exploring rivers, like how they're like dragons, like parts of the dragon, because mountains are the dragon's spine, backbone. It's like the flow of water on the surface through the river, but also underground, because there's underground rivers, and the atmosphere too, because there's currents with how water moves in the atmosphere too. So it's like all these different currents. So it's like this flow, because rivers is like where civilizations develop. So it's used to talk about a collective too. So I don't know. I just got really obsessed.
That's so cool.
I love that. I'm Year of the Dragon also, so I've always been obsessed.
88?
Yeah, 88.
Oh, happy Jupiter return.
Speaking of books, are there other things that you'd recommend to folks to read about astrology, specifically through like a post-colonial lens?
Oh, so much. Yeah. Red Tarot just came out. That's about tarot, but it's a decolonial guide to the tarot. I'm very excited about that because I don't do tarot with people. I just do it for myself using that book as part of like just for journaling.
Which deck do you use?
Actually, I use the Diary of Youth, BTS fan made tarot.
That's so sick. Wait, that's fucking good.
It's actually made by queer people too.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a really cool deck. Yeah. And then the delineations, I'll just read a random one. Like Queen of Cups. Not all spirits are pure. Would you drink from only which satisfies? Hands held out, receive and give. Discern which hands does which, and from there, the pureness of the waters will be revealed. Drink on your own behalf.
Wow.
They pull from BTS lyrics and stuff.
That's so sick.
Oh my god. I love that.
Gender Spiral is an original podcast from Audiation.
This episode was mixed by Matt Noble, and music is composed by CMD plus Jasmine, courtesy of Molten Heart, with art by Joey Hahn and graphics by Michael Tyrone Delaney. The show is executive produced by Ireland Meacham, myself, Babette Thomas, my co-host, Allie Beardsley, and Sandy Smullins, with additional story editing from Susie Armitage.
Thank you so much to Alice Sparkly Cat. You can check out their writing on their website, alicesparklycat.com.
If you like the show, please head over to patreon.com/genderspiralpodcast to support us. You can also check us out at genderspiralpod.com, where you'll find transcripts for each episode and a link to leave us a voicemail.
And follow us on Instagram. It's at genderspiral. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so you don't miss a new episode. They're coming out every other week.
And don't forget to get tickets to our live show at the Bell House in Brooklyn on August 29th. The ticket link is also in the show notes. We'll see you there.
Audiation.